Hello, 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 and welcome to the Texas Live, of course. I am Shane Moore, and I'll be here for the next 3 hours, taking your questions, comments, and personal experiences via our live chat or by phone. The show line is 903-956-0055. Outside the U.S., just add 1 to that. 903-956-0055. Tonight, we'll be talking about, and I'll be explaining in detail, the origins, power, deception, and agenda of the Zionist movement. Zionism is the greatest threat to the freedom of humanity today. It is a political movement. It has nothing to do with anything spiritual. These people are hell-bent on world domination and having everyone who is different ethnically than they are to serve them as slaves. I know it sounds insane, it sounds conspiratorial, but I assure you it is the truth. This is going to get bad, people. I mean, the New World Order is no longer a conspiracy theory. It's no longer something to laugh at when someone mentions it. It's now fact. And I'm going to explain in detail how it is fact, how it is truth, and truth need not scream. You will either accept truth or you will reject it. But one thing is you cannot ignore it. There's many things that are going on in the world today that people are hurting, people are suffering, people are being abused, people are being killed. I'm talking genocide. I'm talking there are groups of people that are being slaughtered because of their belief system or because of their ethnicity. Basically, it's just a violence everywhere. Seemingly random shootings, acts of terrorism. Random does not exist. I mean, there's always a reason. There's always one who is responsible. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. So, buckle your seatbelts and get ready because this is going to be one hell of a show. As I did the other night, I'm not going to pull any punches tonight. I'm just getting warmed up. So, again, if I somehow get kicked off or banned, I will pop up somewhere else and continue until my dying breath. That's how I'm very, very passionate about this, and I just want to present the truth. I just want to present the facts and let you make up your mind. I think a lot of eyes need to be opened, and people need to stop following people just because they're popular or they're famous or they have power, because a lot of people have been deceived and a lot of people are being deceived because of that. Anyway, we'll take a short break and allow listeners who want to join our live chat to do so. And those of you that want to call, please call. And if you agree with me or you disagree with me, I welcome your calls. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Suddenly you look like a stranger, a face I knew but I must forgotten. Emotional flicker, you were my everything. We know we could have done it better, fought for the little things that we wanted. I know it was so good together, still you had to let go. Oh, I wish that you hadn't pulled the trigger, shut me down with my bitter heart. My blood is getting thicker. You shut me down with my bitter heart. You swam so deep into my river, your footsteps lead everywhere I go. I never was a weeper, but I'm still holding on. We know we could have done it better, fought for the little things that we wanted. I know it was so good together, still you had to let go. Oh, I wish that you hadn't pulled the trigger, shut me down with my bitter heart. My blood is getting thicker. Oh, you shut me down. Oh, I wish that you hadn't pulled the trigger, shut me down with my bitter heart. My blood is getting thicker. Oh, you shut me down, my bitter heart. Oh, baby, look at me just one more time. Tell me that you don't regret it. I really thought we were fine. Then you shot me down. Oh, I wish that you hadn't pulled the trigger, shut me down with my bitter heart. My blood is getting thicker. Oh, you shut me down. Oh, I wish that you hadn't pulled the trigger, shut me down with my bitter heart. My blood is getting thicker. You shut me down with my bitter heart.
And I am back. Anyway, okay, we'll definitely get ready to rock and roll tonight. I know that this is a very touchy subject, so it's very, very sensitive, very, very touchy, because this is a group of people that those who speak out against them, and they've said this, they have admitted this. There was a woman on Democracy Now. Hey, Nazarene, glad you joined us, or joined me. One's a lonely number. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. But there was a woman on Democracy Now that when she was asked about when someone says, something criticizing so-called Jewish people, that group that claim that they are Jews or God's chosen people. It's what they hide behind. And she said as much. And the host said, what do you do when someone criticizes or calls you on things that, that you've basically, committed, crimes or wrongdoing or whatever. And she says, well, the first thing is, first thing that we use is the term anti-Semitism. And she says, and that's our go-to. She said that, if you speak against the state of Israel, you're labeled an anti-Semite. I want you to understand I am not anti-anybody. Hey, Patricia. Glad you joined us. Always glad to see you here. Nezreen. You and Nezreen. But I'm not anti-anybody. What I'm against is I'm against wrong. I'm against abuse. I'm against abuse of authority, abuse of power. I'm against bullies. I'm against murderers. I'm against terrorists. And I'm against those who push forward and methodically work against everyone. They have no regard for humanity or for anyone that is not who that's not like they are. They view themselves as superior, and they have no problem with hurting, intimidating, or even murdering people to reach their goals. So it's hey SR, glad you joined us. That is the best definition of a psychopath. I mean, and it's like these people, they have the power, they have the control, they have everything. I mean, they have weapons. You want to talk about weapons of mass destruction? They have them. I mean, and it is insane. It is crazy that that their greatest weapon. I mean, not just nuclear weapons, not just bombs and all this. I mean, you can have all the ammunition. You can have all the tanks, planes, jets, whatever. But their greatest weapon is deception and propaganda. And they're experts at using it. They don't have to necessarily kill off or murder their enemies or who they hate. The only thing they have to do is simply tell a lie or perform an act of terrorism and blame it on some group that they don't like or that they want taken care of. And they sit back and they watch people who are so gullible, who are so misled that they believe anything that is on the news or major media, or because a certain government leader said it, or studies have shown, or our agency has proved that blah, blah, blah was responsible for this. And, I mean, look at 911. Look at 911. I mean, before anybody could say, hey, was Osama bin Laden really, did he really do this? You had people, I mean, jumping the gun. I mean, let's kill him, let's invade, let's kill all of them. And it's like, what in the hell? I mean, you don't just invade a country. You don't just start saying you want to kill someone just because someone said that they did it. I mean, where's the proof? Really, where's the proof? And what I'm going to talk about tonight is that very thing, is how the major media, world leaders, they promote propaganda, lies, deception, to do just that, to play one side against another. Because how do they achieve that? Because people believe it. They believe the lies. Talking about Zionism, it is the greatest threat to the freedom of humanity. Zionism, again, is a political movement. It has nothing to do with anything spiritual. The Zionists claim to be the true Jewish people, but they're not who they claim to be. They have worked and they have hidden behind being, quote, God's chosen people far too long. This is the greatest deception ever perpetrated on the world. The true Jewish people are absolutely 100% against these heartless, cruel, racist, violent, and murderous fake Jews. These tyrants are actually Khazarians who adopted Judaism in 740 AD and then migrated to Palestine. They methodically and violently, heartlessly, removed hundreds of thousands of Palestinian people from their homes and took the land on the premise, God gave us this land. Thousands of Palestinians were murdered, beaten, tortured, and forced to the West Bank, Gaza, where the killing, violence, and atrocities continue to this day. The State of Israel became a reality in 1948, funded and paid for by the Khazarian Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Every building in Israel bears the name Rothschild or Rockefeller. Most will be surprised what these fake Jews secretly think about anyone who aren't the same ethnicity as they are, or who have a different belief system, including Americans, Christians, Muslims. It makes no difference. So don't think that this is just that they're just against Muslims or they're just against Christians. They're against everybody who is different from them. Every prime minister of Israel has been very vocal about their feelings toward the non-Jews. That includes Americans. That includes the Gentiles, the non-Jews, Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons. It doesn't matter unless you are willing to bow down and serve them. They want you dead. They want you dead. And history has shown that they're not afraid to do that very thing, to make that happen. Every prime minister of Israel has been very vocal about their feelings towards the non-Jews, aka Goyim. Goyim means cattle. You are subhuman to them. All non-Jews are subhuman and should be killed according to their most sacred text, the Talmud. And if you haven't read the Talmud, As sickening as it is, please read it. Please just read part of it. You can read like 2 or 3 pages, and you're going to see firsthand the truth about the deception. And trust me, these people, they follow the Talmud. Every new U.S. lawmaker must sign an oath of loyalty to Israel. 26 states have already passed laws punishing anyone or any business who boycotts Israel. In 2017, many Texas business owners had to sign an oath of loyalty to Israel before they could receive hurricane aid or insurance payments due to the hurricane damage. This is insane. At one time, when someone mentioned New World Order or the beast system, is what the Bible calls it. And again, those of you who know me, you know I'm not preaching, I'm not religious, but I am spiritual, and I'm all for the truth. I'm speaking truth here. If the Bible didn't speak truth, then I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't quote it. But the Bible says that there will be a system that will be set up that will be there will be an antichrist or the spirit of antichrist, which is it's prevalent, and that the antichrist will receive his power from the beast. So the beast system, that's where that comes from. But it's it's worldwide. And that every person will be monitored. Every person will, everything you do, you say, you buy, what you sell, you will be monitored. They will know. And the only way that can be a reality, the only way that can be brought into existence, or that amount of data, information handled, is by, go figure, quantum computing. Thank you, CERN. Thank you, Dr. Geordie Rose. I said months ago, when Dr. Geordie Rose gave his speech about how there are dimensional entities that are on their way like a swarm. He says because they're much more advanced than we are. He says they view us like we view ants. He said it's not that they're good or evil. He said they simply don't give a shit about humanity. Okay, so you're the genius, right? That's pretty ignorant. But anyway, thank you, Geordie Rose, for betraying the human race. May you go down in history as doing so, as a traitor of humanity itself. So, isn't it amazing that we are 2019? Okay. Now, CERN is currently shut down for revamping. When they come back online, I believe in 2021, 2022, 2 years, so it would be 2021. They're going. The Large Hadron Collider will reach its maximum level, its maximum power, and that's been their goal the whole time. So once that happens, I believe that that will be the time or around the time that the first working operational quantum computer will be enacted, or will be activated and working. And I believe that the hub will be CERN, and just like, CERN's the birthplace of the World Wide Web, and that's what they will use to monitor every person on Earth. Now, many people have said that, they're going to do it with RFID chip, or, you have to take that chip, or you're going to die. Well, maybe so. But I believe that it will be something more like they can follow your genetic, your DNA, the frequency, the biofrequency of your DNA. Every person has a unique biofrequency of your DNA, and that may be a way, because the quantum computing is going to be so indescribably powerful that I believe that it will be able to do that. Okay, well, you are not going to say you do something wrong, or you do something to break these Noahide laws that the Zionist, these Jews, supposed Jews who follow the Talmud, who they want these laws to be enforced all over the world, the Noahide laws. If you break one of these laws, they're not going to have to come and get you. Okay, that's just not true. They will simply shut you off from buying or selling or entering any store, any place of business, or doing any business. It's time to wave bye-bye to paper money, and because it's all going digital. It's going to be a thing of the past. The only thing that we can hope for is bartering with gold, silver, precious metals. But anyway, let me catch up here. Patricia, you say, do you believe this also plays into politics, like between different parties of the government? Truth is, Patricia, it's my belief that there are no different parties. There just appear to be different parties. They're all one. They're all one. This has all been one big act, one big drama, and they have pulled it off very, very well. People say, well, better vote for Trump, because if Hillary wins, it's gonna be hell. You know what? I have pictures that I'm going to post on the Facebook page for the podcast of Trump and Hillary with the Catholic Archbishop, extremely powerful man. I believe he's a Jesuit also, and that ties into what you're talking about, SR. And if you want me to use your first name, that's fine. I just want to check with you first. But yes, they are both hand in hand. And this is the deal, okay? I have been neutral. I've not said anything about Trump. I've not said anything about Hillary Clinton. I've not said anything about Obama. I have remained neutral because if you know me, I do not discuss politics or religion. I just don't. It's just because neither one has ever led to anything good. It just always leads to dissension, anger, hatred, and even murder. I mean, come on. So, but they're both, Hillary and Trump, and every one of them, they're all in it together. Behind closed doors, they're all working for this goal. Take into account Donald Trump when he was running for president. He said, and he looked at Hillary and he said, "You are a bad, bad woman. And if I'm elected president," he says, "I will have special counsel investigate you and I will put you in jail." Okay? Where's she at now? Has she been charged with anything? Has she been investigated? I don't think so. Matter of fact, listen to him in his own words when reporters ask him about, what do you think about Hillary Clinton? Now that he's in office, he says, wonderful lady, personal friend. I think the world of her and her husband. I like her husband. And this is not just one time. This is like several different times. And I'm thinking, where in the hell did this come from? Because when you were campaigning, you were talking about, putting her in a coffin and sinking her in the deepest sea. And now she's a wonderful woman? What the hell? I mean, how did that change? Well, there's only one explanation. It never was. It was a lie. Okay? And I'm not picking on Trump. I'm not picking on him. I'm simply presenting facts, truths that many people have seen, they just overlook it. And they're like, well, Donald Trump, make America great again. Keep America great, Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds great. But the proof's in the pudding, and the proof's just not there. I mean, come on. We're talking about, this is his third year as president. Gonna drain the swamp in Washington, right? Well, what's been drained? I haven't seen anything. I've seen a bunch of talk, a bunch of promises, and this QAnon, don't waste your time. Can you say PSYOP? I mean, yeah. It is, talk about a PSYOP. I mean, Q has been blabbing blah, 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 this and that. Get ready for the mother of all bombs, and this is going to be news that's going to be breaking, and it's going, Okay, well, when you say a certain date, or you say a certain time, this is going to happen, and it doesn't happen, yeah, count me out. I'm not going to waste my time. Tricia, you also say they're not even Jews, though. Yes, they're not. They're not true. They're not the true Jewish people. In fact, the true Jewish people are very much against them. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to see that. They want to keep you blind. That's why that on the news, in the media, you will never see the true Jewish people holding up signs and their rallies, loud and clear. We are against Zionism. We are against the evil Zionist in every way. We are against the violence against the Palestinian people, against our Palestinian brothers. And you have the true Jewish people standing with and next to the Palestinian people, and they're calling them their brothers. But all you ever see is how Palestine has attacked Israel, or whatever, And just just like 2 or 3 days ago, Palestine, they had a missile launcher, like, it malfunctioned during cleaning. And 2 missiles were fired into Tel Aviv. No one was hurt. And the Israeli government said that they knew that it was an accident. They knew that it was that it was not fired intentionally. That it malfunctioned. But it didn't matter, because that very night they bombed Palestine with over 100 bombs. Now tell me, how is that? How is that? How can you justify that when you've just said that your government knew that it was not intentional, it was a mistake, it was a malfunction, they did not intend to do that? 2 missiles, and you respond with 100 bombs? This is insanity. This is crazy. Why did they do it? How did they do it? Why? Because they can. Because they can. And the world watches this. The world knows about it. The world knows what happened in 1948. The world knows that, well, they don't know the details, but these people were removed from their homes on the premise, God gave us this land. And Menachem Begin, the former Israeli prime minister who bragged about being the father of terrorism of the world. A reporter said, "How does it feel being the father of terrorism in the Middle East?" And he said, "The Middle East? How about the world?" Yeah, he took great pride in that. Real sadistic guy. Real cruel, sadistic, heartless guy, He was also the one who, hey, Mona, glad you joined us. Menachem Begin had his Ergen group that bombed the King David Hotel in 1946, okay? And they blamed it on the Arabs. False flag. False flag. That's what I'm talking about. The propaganda. The false flag. You do something that is horrific. You do something to cause public outrage. You do something that kills or murders, many people. Doesn't matter. Men, women, children. Doesn't matter. And you blame it on those you hate. And there you go. You don't have to do anything. You have people that will do it for you. Can you say, I'm saying 911. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that, wow, you want to get rid of bin Laden? Okay. You want to get rid of the country, the nation of Afghanistan? You want to get rid of Iraq? Okay, well, Saddam's got weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. He has weapons of mass destruction. Always listen for them to repeat and be so repetitive with these phrases. Weapons of mass destruction. Okay. They go in. They kill over 200,000 Iraqi men, women, children. Did he have weapons of mass destruction? Well, no. Didn't find any, but we thought he did. What? How is that even remotely acceptable? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not being unpatriotic, but my God, why aren't these people being brought up on war crimes? You know damn well the only reason they did that was for the oil. This is insane. My God. And not only that, but who hated Iraq? I mean, I'm not saying that Saddam was a nice guy, but I'm saying, hell, he wasn't any worse than, you know, different leaders that were in power. How do you justify that? And Israel certainly hated Iraq, and right now their eye is on Iran and Syria. And it is, in my opinion, they are going to, one way or another, they're going to light the fuse, either by a false flag or one way or another, and they're going to cause Syria or Iran to retaliate or try to protect themselves, and when they do, all hell's going to break loose. And the only two countries that aren't Rothschild owned, aka Khazarian owned, Syria and Iran in the Middle East. Yes, those two. And they will fall. Because, number one, they don't have nuclear weapons, and Israel does. The United States does. And that's another thing that I want to ask again. Why is it acceptable for Israel to have nuclear weapons loaded to the gills, but no other Middle Eastern country is allowed to have nuclear weapons? And if they do, then they're threatened, or they're bombed, or they're invaded. What makes Israel so special? Well, who's in charge? Who's in charge? I want to read to you some quotes by certain individuals, leaders of Israel, aka the false Jews. But I want to catch up here. Okay, say SR. Okay, you say, right, they are Zionist Jews, but what about the Jesuits? My research is going past the Rockefellers Chase. I went to Jekyll Island this past summer. It's the red and white and blue. We have our own collider in New York. It is smaller, but it's still on. Okay. Thank you for that. They are Zionists. Jews, yes. But there's also the non-Jews who are Zionists, like the Christian evangelicals, like John Hagee, and hell, even Billy Graham, Franklin Graham, all these, people that they support Israel, and you stand with Israel. If you don't stand with Israel, God's going to curse you. Well, you know what? I will say I don't stand with Israel. I'm not going to stand with anyone who does the things that they've done. So we'll see if I'm cursed. I put it out there. And if God wants to curse me because I'm against this lie, then we'll see about that. But I guarantee it's not going to happen. You say, but what about the Jesuits? Jesuits are, they're owned by the Zionists. The Rockefellers, the Rothschild, the Khazarians, they own the Jesuits. They're in control of the Jesuits. They're in control of the Rockefellers. They're in control of Chase Manhattan banking, everything. Wells Fargo, every single thing you can imagine. Jekyll Island, Federal Reserve, yes. They're in charge of the Federal Reserve. And by the way, the Federal Reserve doesn't have anything to do with the American government. Nothing. It's privately owned. And it is absolutely, hey Elaine, it is the Federal Reserve, privately owned. Absolutely nothing to do with the United States government. And it is owned by these Zionist Jews. Yes, the Illuminati. Jews. Now, Zionism is like a new term. Zionism was actually started by the father of modern Zionism, Theodor Herzl. In 1897 is when that came about. But the ideology, the idea, the plans for the Zionist world order has been in the making for a long, long time. 740 AD, you had the Khazarians who were kicked out of Russia because they were so reprobate, so perverted, so they were thieves and just bad people. I mean, scum. They didn't respect anybody. Nobody. I mean, we're talking stealing, raping. So they were kicked out of Russia. All right. Now, these people, they don't plan like you and I do. I mean, most people, they plan a month ahead, a year ahead sometimes. They certainly don't plan generations ahead when they're gone. But these people do. These people, they plan years and years and years and years and generations ahead. Got to give them credit. They have really, really worked on this. Okay, 1917, you have Russia, which is monarchy, right? You have the Romanov, the royal family, and SR and I talked about this. You have the Romanov family, who, by the way, the Romanovs were all Rh negative blood type, which is very strange. And, we've talked about that and the different blood types and everything, and how that the blood types come up at different times, for different reasons, but it always leads back to Mount Hermon, where the Bible says that sons of God, talking about the angels, the watcher class of angels, saw the daughters of men were fair, and they made an oath on Mount Hermon, which Hermon means oath. And they came down off the mountain and took wives, all of which they chose, and had children by them, which became the Nephilim, which is where I believe that the Rh negative blood type comes from. That's not to say that everyone with Rh negative blood is evil. because not all of the Watchers were evil. Just the 200 that were on Mount Hermon. Many other Watchers. So, those of you that believe that that all Rh negative people are evil or bad, you need to rethink. You need to reevaluate what you're thinking, because it's just like Rh positive people. There's good and bad Rh positive people. There's good and bad Rh negative people. So, and those of you that, view Rh negative people as alien, being alien or something to fear or something different, get over it. Maybe we are different. Maybe those with Rh negative blood are humans, and maybe Rh positive people are aliens. Really. What I'm saying is get rid of every label, get rid of every judgmental thought that you have, and focus on love. If someone who is Rh positive and you're Rh positive treats you or abuses you, mistreats you or abuses you, and someone with Rh negative blood shows you love and care and concern, who's good and who's evil then? Don't fall into the trap of hating or disliking or mistreating anyone because of their blood type or the color of their skin or where they're from or their belief system. I mean, can't you see that this is what we have been fed is, stand with these people no matter what they do, but be against these people simply because who they are. No, that's wrong. That's wrong on every level. It always will be. So, and yes, but Patricia, you say, so then they're just cattle as well. Pretty sure this is similar to those in the past trying to one-up each other with saying they have royal blood or something, even though it's the first of the line. Yeah. I'm in no way saying that I'm superior to anybody. I'm just saying that I've got very rare blood type, most rare. And trust me, it's not something that has helped me in life. It's actually caused me a lot of problems, a lot of heartache. So, yeah, it's not something that I'd choose. Mona, I never understand why we kissed up to Israel, why they were so special that we would bend over backwards for them. Even in high school, when I'd say something about it, people would look at me like I was a traitor and I didn't know what I was talking about. That's right. And it's like, yeah, you speak against Israel, and it's worse than speaking against the United States. I'll say that again. When you speak against Israel, it's worse than speaking against the United States. Ponder that. Think about that. Yes. Patricia, you say, I thought the term came from Joseph Smith when looking for Zion. Zion is a word that has been in the Bible. It's a Hebrew word. Actually, it's in Hebrew. It is T-S-Y-I-O-N, Sion. Now, there's a priory of Sion, S-I-O-N, that is basically it's what I believe is the head is the largest, the most powerful secret society in existence, okay? And it's, in my opinion, it's the oldest. Now, there was some, when it came out, it was immediately discredited and said that a man by the name of Pierre Plantard in France made it up, and that it was all a hoax. But I assure you it's not a hoax. That is disinfo. So people will believe it was a hoax and not think anything about it. But the Priory of Sion is very real. And it is, you only have to look at the P2, the letter P, number 2, Alpine Lodge of Freemasonry. Look up P2 scandal, and you will see that this is associated with the Priory of Sion, the Vatican, banking. And I just want to say one thing. Sion, in the Bible, there's 2 Sions. One is Zion. The other is Sion. Well, these people who are in power and control everything, they are for rebuilding or were for rebuilding and are now for protecting and giving power to Zion. But I assure you that they are of the Priory of Sion, Sion. Now the difference between the two is Zion is the true Mount of God, Mount Zion. And when I say true Mount of God, I'm talking about it is what the true Jews, those that are against Zionism, it is where they say that the third temple will be built after the Messiah returns, after their Mashiach returns. Now, Mount Sion, with an S, is also called Mount Sinir, Mount Shinir, and better known as Mount Hermon. Yes. And see how that comes full circle back to where the sons of God took the daughters of men and bred with them, created the Nephilim, created the Nephilim. Why? Because they wanted a legacy. The Bible says that the Nephilim became the men of renown, the men of a name, the heroes of old. Yes, they wanted to have children because they wanted to have a legacy. They wanted to, and they do. But again, not all of them, not all of the watchers were evil. And because of that, not all of the Nephilim, in my opinion, were evil. There were good, and there were bad, just like anything else. Okay. Sorry, you say, I live in an area that has a big Freemason area. Ohio has the most lodges. A church that is really big in town is called Old North with a compass. Yes. Freemasonry is they are very, very, they're filled with Zionists. It is a Zionist movement. And for the longest time, they were purportedly against Catholicism, Catholicism, the Roman Catholic Church was against Freemasonry. Well, guess what? They're on the same side. They're on the same side. It is the biggest scam ever. I mean, they're not against each other. Well, they're working for each other. Matter of fact, look at the Shriners, the Masla Shriners. What is on what emblems, what symbols are on their hats they wear, with the tassels and everything? Well, Islamic, the crescent moon and the sword. Yeah. So Freemasons, they say that they're not a spiritual group, that they're not a political group, that in the lodge you don't talk about politics and you don't talk about religion. I believe otherwise. Again, I want to read the quote by Menachem Begin, who proudly bragged, he's dead now, bragged about being the father of terrorism worldwide. This is a Jew, a fake Jew, a Khazarian. He says, quote, "Our race is the master race. We are divine gods on this planet. We are as different from the inferior races as they are from insects. Other races are beasts and cattle, and animals, cattle at best. Our destiny is to rule over the inferior races. The masses will lick our feet and serve as our slaves." End of quote by Menachem Begin. Now, Mr. Begin, let's make one thing clear. I would rather eat a 50 caliber bullet, a shell, than to lick your nasty feet. Just saying, Just saying that is not on my menu. And serving you as a slave, that's not going to happen either. It's just not. Number 2, and it just goes on to say that, talking about the father of terrorism, Menachem Begin, his picture is hanging in Netanyahu's office because Menachem Begin is the founder of the Likud party, political party, in Israel. And Netanyahu is a member of the Likud party. So he really looks up to and worships this Menachem Begin, this terrorist and everything. So you tell me, why would you worship? Why would you have this guy's picture hanging up in your office, or have his picture anywhere, that was a self-proclaimed terrorist of not only father of terrorism of the Middle East but the world? I mean, this guy was part of removing the Palestinians from their homes, from their land. And those that, they're like, hey, buy your land, buy your home. Well, we don't want to leave. Well, you're leaving one way or another. Those that resisted, they were executed, or they were forced to leave. One eyewitness of Menachem Begin's Irgun troops or forces in Palestine at the time said that it was not only men, there's also women that were murderous, that were heartless, that were cruel, and that there was an elderly couple. They went to the front door. They told these people to leave their home, that God had given them this land, and they had to leave their home. And as they were leaving, it was reported by an eyewitness that an Israeli woman, a young Israeli woman, ran up and literally stabbed the elderly couple to death on their porch. This is what we're dealing with. But you won't hear that reported, and you haven't heard it reported. You haven't heard of Israeli soldiers snipers shooting people in wheelchairs, people on crutches, people, disabled people. Why? Well, maybe they're doing it for kicks. Maybe they're doing it because they can. They think it's funny. I want to read to you a quote made by Benjamin Netanyahu, who, by the way, is facing criminal charges or being indicted on bribery and extortion, and the Israeli elections are coming up April the 9th. This is what Benjamin Netanyahu said. He says, there is no greater supporter of the Jewish people and the Jewish state than President Donald Trump. Well, good for you. That's great. I mean, yeah. But on the day of the 9/11 attacks, Benjamin Netanyahu was asked what the terror attacks would mean for U.S.-Israeli relations. His quick reply was, quote, "It's very good." Well, it's not good, but it will generate immediate sympathy for Israel. End of quote. What in the hell? Are you serious? There was nothing good about 9/11. Nothing. And all this psychopath can do is say it's very good. Well, it's not good, but it'll generate immediate sympathy for Israel. Who the hell cares about sympathy for Israel? I mean, seriously. We're talking about the worst terrorist attack on American soil, and you're talking about sympathy for Israel? That's sickening. That should sicken every person who heard him say that and who now knows he said that, because look online, it's everywhere. I mean, it's not something that's just made up. I mean, he says, quote, "We are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attack on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and the American struggle in Iraq." End of quote. Benjamin Netanyahu on 9/11. And then you've got the president who is all chummy with this guy. Oh, man, yeah, we stand with Israel, we do this, we do that, really, you're standing with someone who said what he said, and it's like, why don't you, you're supposed to be the, you're supposed to be the big man, right? You don't fear anybody. I mean, look at you. You don't take anything off anybody. Well, there's one person you do, and it's Netanyahu. Why is that? Why is everyone's nose up Israel's ass? I mean, I'm sorry. It really ticks me off. And someone today said that someone listened to me and said I sounded like Alex Jones, and I almost cut my own throat. Please, if I don't want to sound like Alex Jones because he's a Zionist puppet. Please, I'm not trying to sound like anybody. I'm just very passionate about this. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti-anybody. I'm all for truth. I'm all for justice. I'm all for the downtrodden. I'm all for the mistreated. I'm all for the abused. I'm for those who can't help themselves or are afraid to help themselves. That's all. So, but the Jewish Talmud, and when we come back, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, I will read to you portions of their most sacred text about how they teach in the Talmud where a Jew should do evil. And they even explain and describe how they can do it and how they can get away with it. I will be back in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Without any warning, we're sucking up the oxygen. The room is getting smaller. We always have it coming, like animals who like to bite, tasting our disaster. 20-something seconds go on and on. 20-something seconds go. I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. I know we can do better. I'm not ready for darkness. If we promise to hold on and to never let go, I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. I'm ready to absorb you, feeding on your triggered lies. My ignorance defines you. The roof is gonna cave in, roaring western dinosaurs, so caught up in the moment. 20-something seconds go on and on. 20-something seconds go. I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. I know we can do better. I'm not ready for darkness.
Okay, I'm back. Mona says that she got the message that this live broadcast has been terminated. Um, it hasn't been terminated as far as I can see. Those of you that can still hear me, please let me know. It really wouldn't surprise me, but hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Anybody there? Okay, Patricia. Okay, I'm gonna text Mona and let her know that she must be the only one, or there may be others. I'm not sure, but wow. Ooh. Okay, hold on. Okay, thank you, Patricia, for letting me know that. Yes, okay. But anyway. Wow. Maybe there's just certain people that are getting that message. Just like, oh, okay, Nezreen, thank you. It's just like when there was, someone that that sent me or attempted to send me an email at thetextuspodcast.com or at gmail.com. They said that they they were met with a warning, something like a I don't know, some kind of warning where they were blocked. They couldn't send me an email. So I just I simply sent them a message on YouTube and gave them a different email address, and we got it done. But that person, they didn't message me for long. They got scared or whatever, and I guess and just didn't I guess that they didn't want to take the chance of getting in trouble, or said something about that a warning that it was a some kind of threat, like your computer will be infected or whatever, or whatever. I have no idea really. But that's the way it goes, and it's amazing that when they do things like that, that it is it's so funny because they're just proving that that what I'm saying or whatever is something that is definitely getting under their skin or whatever. Yes, Patricia, kind of a cease and desist warning. Kind of saying that it would be dangerous to contact me or to email me. I have no idea. But it's not everyone. This woman was in Australia, and she tried to email me, and she said, wow. She said, this is... she said, I got a big warning. She said, I couldn't email you. So I said, well, here's another email address, and I gave it to her, and so she did. But I'm not so sure that one wasn't, that a warning wasn't placed on that one either. Anyway, so with when the Khazarians were kicked out of Russia in 1740 AD, or what was Russia? What is Russia? They held that grudge. I mean, it was going to be payback time, one way or another, no matter how long it took. And in 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution was started, and the Romanov family, the royal family, was, they were taken prisoner, and there were Jewish Bolsheviks that took charge, or that were placed in charge by a certain Jewish, supposed Jew leader, and he ordered the execution of every member of the family. The Tsar, Nicholas, his wife, their children, and even the servants. They lined them up and they executed them. And this is the telling thing, is that that when they asked those that carried out the execution what the last words of the Tsar was, they said his last words were, "You know not what you do." Wasn't, "I hate you, go to hell, burn in hell, I hate you, you're evil." No. He looked at them with, I guess, pity, because they're so pitiful, and said, "You know not what you do." And they blew his brains out. And then they killed his wife, his children, and his servants. Why? Well, so they could take charge of Russia, begin the Bolshevik Revolution, which, by the way, led to the deaths of 66 million Jewish Christians. And we're not talking 6 million. 66 million. But how often do you hear about the 66 million? No, you hear about the 6 million. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying it seems very strange that you've got something, you have a Holocaust that is 10 times worse. And have you ever heard about it? Have you ever heard a word about it? Most haven't. That's how deceptive they are. That's how powerful they are. They control everything that you're told, everything you're taught. They control education, public schools, private schools, whatever. They're in charge. Karl Marx, Marxism, and I hope I pronounced this correctly. If I don't, forgive me. Giuseppe Mazzini, the Italian powerful Masonic revolutionary. They founded the Communist International. Communism. Right? how many people have suffered and died at the hands or because of communism? Many, many, many. It's horrible. I mean, but the truth is Karl Marx, his real last name was Mordecai, which is Jewish. So Karl Marx was a Khazarian Jew who teamed up with Mazzini, and they did the bidding of their Zionist masters, their Khazarian masters. Mazzini went on with Albert Pike. Albert Pike was probably the most influential, powerful Masonic Freemason to have ever lived. I mean, he wrote the morals and dogma of Freemasonry. Mazzini and Albert Pike united to form United Freemasonry internationally to destroy the church, to destroy religion, to destroy spirituality. In her book Occult Theocracy by Edith Starr Miller, the Jewish Brotherhood in Poland was part of starting the Communist International, or carrying it through. Mazzini, as far as he was part of the Carbonari. Armand Levi was in charge of Freemasonry, and Adriano Lemi in charge of Judaism. So they kind of brought those three together and formed communism along with Karl Marx, or Karl Mordecai. So it just kind of it's kind of a free for all, but it always leads back to those to the truth of these people being these Khazarians, these, very strange. One thing too is in Freemasonry, there's 33 degrees. There's 33 vertebrae in the human spinal column, and Jesus supposedly lived 33 years. Okay, Mount Hermon, Mount Zion, just happens to be at 33.33 degrees latitude and 33.33 degrees longitude. Now, how strange is that? Or is it strange? I don't think it's strange. I think it's meant to be. You got 33, 33, 33, 33. You think they're trying to send a message? And it's Mount Hermon, Mount Sion, aka Priory of Sion, where these interdimensional entities bred with human women and blah blah blah, and it goes on and on and on. In the book that was written, The Protocols of the Elders of Sion. Now, this book has been highly debated, whether it's authentic or whether it's a hoax. You read it, you be the judge. It is, even if it is a hoax, it doesn't matter, because there are people who believe it, people who follow it, and that's where the problem comes in. That's where the problems start. is it makes no difference. Makes no difference if it's the truth or if it's a hoax. What does, the key thing is who believes it. And if they believe it, then you've got problems. Henry Kissinger, also one of these Khazarian Jews. Oh, it just goes on and on. This guy cannot enter many countries because he's wanted for so many war crimes. I mean, this guy is a piece of work. You talk about a terrorist, you talk about a horrible person, heartless person, but Khazarian Jew. He says, quote, "It is not a matter of what is true that counts, but a matter of what is perceived to be true." End of quote. What's he saying? It's not a matter of truth. It's a matter of what is perceived to be true, even if it's a lie. Whatever works for you. That's what he's saying. And that's what they do. And they have no problem doing it. Now, this is something that is really being pushed big time. Is the Chabad, Hasidic, Judaism, those that follow the Talmud. This is my opinion. Will be the world religion with the 7 Noahide laws enforced by the Sanhedrin, made up of 71 Jewish rabbis, 71 Jewish judges. Now remember, in the Bible, when Jesus opposed the Pharisees, which were of the same stock. I mean, they had the same spirit, the same attitude, the same belief against anything good. They were all for themselves. They were greedy. They were all about the money. They didn't give a damn about how people felt. They didn't give a damn about how people were mistreated. They simply did not care. And Jesus called them out on it. And they told Jesus, they said, "We're of our father Abraham. We're children of God." Just like they say today. And Jesus said, "No, you're of your father the devil, who was a murderer from the beginning, and when he speaks lies because that's his native language. And you do the works of your father." And in that day and time, you did not speak things like that against them, or you would be executed, stoned, whatever. But he did. The Bible says plainly, at that time, after that, they began planning and plotting on how they were going to have him executed. Okay, well, he was brought before the Sanhedrin, which is, again, it's already here. It's been here since, I believe, 2017. Yeah, they've even got their own building, and I'll post it in the on the Facebook page of the new podcast Facebook page, along with other things. But yes, they have their own building, their judicial system, and they're the ones, remember, who tried Jesus twice, had 2 trials for Jesus twice in the night before the crucifixion, and they're the ones that hit him in the face, punched him in the face, spit in his face, and demanded that he be crucified. Now, with the Noahide laws, under the Talmud, it says that these laws will be enforced under the penalty of death. Yes. Under the penalty of death, okay? And it's amazing because these laws seem to be pretty self-evident. You don't shall not kill, shall not lie, all of these things, you know. It seems like seems like a good deal. Okay. You shall not worship idols. You shall respect God and praise Him. You shall respect human life. Shall not murder. Shall not blaspheme God's name. Shall not commit immoral sexual acts. Shall not steal. You shall pursue justice, and shall not eat the flesh of an animal that's still alive. Well, yeah, I don't think I would be too keen on that. That's pretty much already covered in my book. But with these, do not deny God. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're back, baby. Do not deny God. Do not commit idolatry. Okay, well, under their rule, under the rule of these people, and you tell me if they were real, actual children of God, would they do this? Would they say this? Would they be the ones to enact these horrible things that are just very, very brutal, to say the least? Do not commit adultery. Do not commit idolatry. Idolatry in their eyes would be if you chose to worship Jesus, or you chose to worship Buddha, or you chose to worship Krishna, or you chose to worship a rock. Religious freedom? Gone. Penalty for idolatry against the Jewish people, against their Noahide laws, the 7 Noahide laws? Death. Death. Do not blaspheme God. So, you take God's name in vain. Sanhedrin or a branch of the Sanhedrin, they will bring you up. They will try you, they will judge you, and they will execute you. Do not murder. Well, of course, duh. You murder someone, you're going to be executed. Do not engage in illicit sexual relations. Well, I'm not being smart. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to be difficult, but when they say do not engage in illicit sexual relations, or do not engage in I don't know, unusual sexual relations, you're going to have to define that for me. I'm sorry. It's just like, okay, to each his own, but, what I see as normal sexual relations, I'm pretty sure that that your beards and your judgmental mind would be blown. I'm just saying, by what I may consider to be normal and you consider to be illicit. I just thought I would add that for a little bit of humor to such a serious situation. Do not steal. Well, duh. If you steal, you will die. Execution. Do not eat meat from a live animal. Well, duh. I'm not going to do that. If you do, you will die. And 7 Noahide laws. The seventh one is create legal system of justice that they themselves run, that they're in control of, that they enforce, that they are judge, jury, and executioners. The only thing is you do not deny their God, or you die. You do not blaspheme their God, or you die. You do not murder them, but they can murder non-Jews. They can murder Gentiles and suffer. There's no punishment because they're doing God's work. They're taking out the garbage in their eyes, in their beliefs. Do not engage in sexual illicit. Do not engage in sexual illicit relations. Okay, but they can. They can engage in adultery, and they can engage in pedophilia with little girls as young as 3 years and a day old, and they say that it's nothing to have sex with a little boy. I'm not making this up. Look it up. They can do that. They can do the most detestable things. But what they say, what they consider to be immoral, if a non-Jew, if a Gentile does it, death penalty. Do not steal. They can steal from you. In fact, they're encouraged to steal from you. But if you steal from them, death penalty. And then do not eat from a live animal. That's pretty much. But create legal system of justice. And again, it is not anything but their system of justice. Their system of justice, where they're judge, jury, executioner. As far as even Jesus, did he receive a fair trial? No. No. Do you know that for years it has been that no one would be would be convicted or could be tried or convicted on it, that it would take at least 2 witnesses, correct? 2 witnesses for someone to be convicted of a crime, much more so when you're facing the death penalty, which these psychopaths are all for, because they want to cleanse the earth of the non-Jews, of the Gentiles. Okay, well, under the Noahide laws, Do you know how many witnesses it takes to convict you? One. One witness. So imagine going before, going to court or before the Sanhedrin or a branch of the Sanhedrin here in the United States or wherever, if there still is the United States. And imagine going in and you look over and there's someone that you have really, really ticked off to the point to where they want you dead. And they say, I saw her or I saw him doing this, that, blah, blah, blah. One witness. Especially if they're Jewish. And you're dead. Executed. And their method of execution? Get this. Their method of execution is not crucifixion. It's not even stoning. It is it's something that is amazing. I mean, it is what the Bible says. The decapitation, can you say the French Revolution, the guillotine? Yes. Do you see how that those of you that know me, you know that I have never pressured, I have never promoted, I have never promulgated, I've never forced anybody, I've never beat anybody over the head with a Bible. But I have said, that the Bible is not to be taken literally, because if you take it literally, of course it's not going to make sense. It's going to be a fairy tale. It's going to be, it's just not going to add up. You take it the way it was written, metaphorically and allegorically, you start to understand. The Bible says that those who do not, who refuse the mark of the beast or the beast system, that they'll lose their heads. Well, the French Revolution, the guillotine was used to sever many heads. Look at the terrorists today. What do? Beheading. It is the worst. It's the greatest. It's a humiliating, powerful statement against the person when they're beheaded. Their head, which is, if you want to get down to it, Jesus was crucified at the place of the skull. Correct? Golgotha, the place of the skull. So, when they separate your head from your body, they're separating the temple of God, which is your body. They're separating your spirit from your body. They're making a statement. The Bible says your body is the temple of God's Spirit, of the Holy Spirit. And that's where the Spirit of God chooses to reside, not in a temple made with human hands. Okay, why are these people, why are these Zionists, why are these Jewish people promoting and pushing for the third temple to be built? the literal temple, when God says plainly, it shall not be made with human hands. I'll dwell in a house not made with human hands. See, they skip right over that. I'm not talking about any physical temple. It's talking about your body. The human body. It's not talking about some building made out of stone and rock and, And I'll even go so far as to say, how many artifacts, how many stones, how much evidence have they found of Solomon's temple ever existing? I'm just putting it out there. Many people say Solomon's temple never existed. It's all metaphorical. And if that's the case, then you have the Temple Mount, which has caused more wars, more deaths, and will continue to do so. What if the Temple Mount means absolutely nothing? What if it's all metaphorical? What if the Temple Mount is just a blueprint for the human body? But it in itself, it has no power. It's no special. I mean, when you go to the Temple Mount, I'm sorry. I'm not putting anybody down, anybody's belief systems down, but my God, let's be honest. Get with it. When you go to the Temple Mount, is it so special that you're healed, you're changed? I mean, no. People go there all the time. They put their hand, they pray at the Wailing Wall and all this and blah, blah, blah. Are they changed? Does anything happen? But it's a very, very special place. It's the most special place on the earth. No, I disagree. You know what the most special place on earth is? Your heart. That's where it is. That's where the most special, the most powerful place on earth is in your heart. Think about Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. Did they have a temple? Did they have a physical temple? Did they have the Temple of Solomon? Did they have this? No. What did they have? Well, before they even had the tabernacle, what did they have? They had the prayer shawl. Why the prayer shawl? Because when Jesus said, when you pray, go into your closet, and they would wrap that shawl around their head and close it, and they would be in their prayer closet, aka their temple, aka inside themselves, inside their hearts, the true temple. Forget about this third temple that they want actually built. All it's going to do is cause more death, more wars, and loss of life, and cruelty, and anger, because what has to happen before they can rebuild the third temple? The Dome of the Rock is in the way. And it has to be removed some way. And I'll tell you something, when that happens, it better be God himself that comes down and does that. Because if it's not, you talk about hell being raised, you talk about hell on earth, you talk about war. I mean, there's not going to be any questions asked. There's not going to be any trial. There's not going to be any thought. It is going to be total chaos. Very bad. But that's why that they are just drooling, wanting that third temple to be built in place of, place of the Dome of the Rock. And this is insanity. I mean, what if there's, and I'm not saying that there is, but I'm just saying what if. I'm just playing devil's advocate. What if there's nothing about the Temple Mount that is that's even really holy? I mean, what if it comes out that there's nothing to it? It's just a big scam. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying. Very strange. Anyway, there is a there's an article 2 years ago by Adam Elihu Berkowitz, titled "Sanhedrin Calls Upon President Trump to Uphold 7 Noahide Laws." Mona, you say, do you think the reference to beast is about Israel or the so-called chosen people Zionists you've been talking about? Well, who controls Israel right now is the Zionists. They're the ones that control Israel right now. As far as the beast system, the beast system would be, yes, in my opinion, it would be modern day Israel, the fake state, the Khazarian, Rothschild, Rockefeller funded state. And what they did is they took advantage of, they're experts at this, they took advantage of the prophecy in the Bible that Israel would be rebuilt as a nation in a day, would be regrouped as a nation in a day. And Baron de Rothschild said to himself, hey, I've got the money to do that, to fund that. And when I do, everyone is going to say, this is God's working. This was done by the power of God. God is the one that regrouped Israel and made it possible. And the whole world will follow after Israel, or most of them. And what happened? Well, you see what happened. That's exactly what happened. No one dares speak against Israel. I do, because I speak against what is wrong, and this is wrong on every level. When you have American workers who must sign an oath of loyalty to Israel, no. This is the United States of America. It is not the United States of Israel. It is not the United States of Zion. It is not the United States of the Jewish people. It is the United States of America. It's damn sure not the United States of Khazaria. It may be. I may have spoke out of turn. It may be. It looks like it is. sadly. But in an ancient and honored Jewish custom, the Sanhedrin sent a letter to new leader of the U.S., President Donald Trump, blessing him and calling on him to take the lead in restoring America and the world. Now, whoa, wait a minute. Blessing him and calling on him to take the lead in restoring America and the world. Who are they to call on the American president to take the lead in restoring America and the world? Restoring America? Why not restore your own damn country? Why not take care of your own crimes? Why not take care of what you've done? Restoring America and the world. As, you know, they're so perfect and superior that they want him to get us all in line. Well, it'll be a cold day in hell before I jump for you. I'm not doing it. You might as well put a bullet right between my eyes. And if you cut my head off, I will bite you anyway. I'm saying. That is just how this, if you're not bothered by this, if this doesn't bother you, then I don't know what would. I don't know what will bother you. Because what's going to happen is they're going to send like they always have. They're going to send your children, your boys, your girls, or grandchildren, your grandson, your granddaughters. They're going to send them into war with Syria or Iran or whatever to fight for Israel. Because God knows there's no threat from Iran or Syria to the United States. Right? I mean, really. Are you willing to let them do that? Are you willing to let them send our boys and girls to fight for a country, to fight for a people, a false people, who are murderers and liars, who want every one of them dead to begin with? They're not your friend. They hate you. You're subhuman. They hate you because they need you. They need your money. They need your sympathy, as Netanyahu put it. Okay. They sent a letter to the new leader of U.S. President Donald Trump, blessing him and calling on him to take the lead in restoring America and the world. The Sanhedrin also called on the new president to acknowledge and uphold the 7 Noahide laws. To acknowledge and uphold the 7 Noahide laws in the United States, is what they were saying. Excuse me, this is the United States. This is not Khazaria. This is not fake Israel. This is the United States of America. So why the hell would we acknowledge and uphold your 7 Noahide laws? The letter follows the custom of the Jewish people to bless foreign kings as seen in a verse in Jeremiah. Rabbi Dov Steen, secretary of the Sanhedrin, told Breaking Israel News, "And seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Hashem for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace." Jeremiah 29:7. Ooh, I'm so impressed. Man, I was tearing up there from that that very, very heartfelt and genuine genuine verse that was shared. Good grief, are you kidding me? Sanhedrin member Rabbi Yoel Schwartz expanded on the decision, pointing out the importance of Trump's role. Really? So our president has to have somebody point out the importance of his role. But importance of his role to who? It's damn sure not the United States. The importance of his role to Israel. We turn to President Trump because America functions as a world leader today in many things, he told Breaking Israel News. As such, we addressed the new president asking him to fix things that Barack Obama broke, to bring back family values, and to lead the war against radical Islamic terror. How about your own terror? Why don't you mention that? Why don't you talk about that? I'm not picking on Israel. I'm not picking on the Jewish people. I'm not even picking on the Khazarians. But why in the hell do you say radical Islamic terror instead of radical terror? Radical terrorism. I'm sorry for speaking so loud. Why is it Islamic? Because you want them taken out of the way. You want them taken out of the way. So you say Islamic terrorism. Not radical terrorism. There's different terrorists in the world, terrorist organizations in the world, not just Islamic. But you want that taken care of because you really hate them. And I've got a lot to say about that. I'm saying, why don't you look back? Why don't we bring up the terrorism, the father of modern terrorism, your very own poster boy father of terrorism, Menachem Begin, who the San Antonio evangelical blimp John Hagee has bragged about. He was my personal friend. I have met with every prime minister of Israel since Menachem Begin. Well, whoop-de-frickin'-do. Who cares, Mr. John Hagee? Could care less. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And you're wrong and you suck. You know, you're in San Antonio. You're not that far from me. Buddy, why don't you waddle up here? I mean, why don't you drive or whatever you do? Why don't you come up here, or I'll come down there and we'll have a debate on the crimes of the Zionists. But you won't do that. You're too high and mighty to do that. I mean, you've met with every prime minister of Israel since Menachem Begin. You've met with Yitzhak Rabin. You were friends with Ehud Barak, and you are buddy with Benjamin Netanyahu. Better yet, why don't you get your buddy Benjamin Netanyahu and you, Mr. John Hagee, Mr. Pastor, Mr. Kufi, Coalition United for United Israel. What you raise millions of dollars for them, but you don't mention a damn thing about Menachem Begin being the father of modern terrorism in the entire friggin' world. You don't mention any of their false flags that they've, perpetrated. You don't mention their attack on the USS Liberty in 1967. You don't mention that. You don't mention the plight. You don't mention the suffering. You don't mention the genocide of the Palestinian people. No, all you can talk about is, well, Israel faces danger every day. What in the hell is wrong with you? You Zionist puppet. I mean, you're pathetic. And I know there's many people that love John Hagee and they follow John Hagee and they worship John Hagee. And I used to be one of them that really followed him, didn't worship him, but I followed him and I listened to him. He seemed to be good for a while, but then when he started talking more about the nation of Israel more than anything else, more than love, and I mean, he's a warmonger. He's a hateful. He is a hateful, murderous traitor. He gets off on murder, violence. Just like I said last podcast, he's on Benny Hinn and he's praying and he says, "Lord God of heaven," and I'm thinking, okay, as opposed to what, Lord God of hell? I mean, come on. And he's, we pray. This was when John McCain was, running for president. When Bush was thinking about attacking Iran, or that may have happened. It was still debatable whether that was going to happen or not. And John Hagee's like, "We pray your protection and blessing over every American soldier and every United Kingdom soldier, British soldier, whatever." He says, "And we pray for the total destruction of Iran." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Are you serious? I mean, you are, and he goes on, he says, "Lord, we pray that they would be decimated." And it's like, oh my God, is this guy for real? I mean, how can you pray to the Prince of Peace for an entire nation, men, women, and children, to be decimated? And I'm thinking, okay, it's just a matter of time before, excuse me, before he prays that salt be poured on the land and on the bodies and, all this stuff. I mean, it was horrible, this prayer, and everybody was, "Oh, it's John Hagee praying this prayer. Oh, let's back him up. It's John Hagee." And I'm thinking, okay, number one, I think you suck. Number two, I think that you have something to gain from this war that you so desperately want. And number three, you're so well. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm sorry. Anyway, so okay, he has already made moves in the proper direction, and we bless him that he will continue to bring back the values that made America great, praised Rabbi Schwartz. We hope that he will advance the Noahide laws that are incumbent upon all men. What? By who? Who decided that? This makes me want to break all these laws. It does. It makes me just want to go out and break every one of these laws and just stand there and smile and say, "Yes, I did it." Catch me if you can. I'm kidding. But it makes me want to rebel. It makes me want to take a stand against this, because we hope that he will advance the Noahide laws that are incumbent upon all men. What? Who made you boss? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot. God did. Yeah, God did. I'm sorry. Forgive me. The prayer sent by the Sanhedrin to Trump is different from that usually recited by Jews living under foreign rule, Rabbi Stein explained. There was a version of the prayer that was said by Jews living under foreign kings to appease the king in hopes that he will not oppress the Jews under his rule, said Rabbi Stein. The prayer is still said in synagogues around the world and begins with a verse from the Psalms. Who givest salvation unto kings, who rescues David, thy servant, from the hurtful sword. Psalm 144, verse 10. As suggested by the verse, the prayer is motivated by fear that a monarch ruling over Jews in exile would turn to a tyrant and be oppressive to the Jews who, as strangers in a strange land, depended on the king's goodwill. But the Sanhedrin blessed Trump in a different tradition, blessing foreign monarchs, which existed in biblical Israel. We blessed him as an independent nation, blessing a close ally, said Rabbi Stein. The Sanhedrin's letter begins, we thank God that a suitable man was chosen to lead America, whose values in the past symbolized a belief in God. What? I'm sorry, I'm not judging him, I'm just saying, what? We thank God that a suitable man was chosen to lead America, whose values in the past symbolized a belief in God, and educated its people. And educated its people in morals and family values. I'm not judging him, but I'm just saying, okay, Mr. Rabbi Stein, or all you 71 Sanhedrin members, you thank God that a suitable man was chosen to lead America, whose values in the past, and I'm going to interject this, having sex, sleeping with porn star Stormy Daniels, symbolized a belief in God and educated its people in morals and family values. You go, man. Wow. Talk about, oh, this is sickening. I mean, do you see this? Everything's fine for them. Everything is fine. Sure, go ahead, do what you want to do. Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely sick. We thank God that a suitable man was chosen to lead America, whose values in the past symbolized belief in God, and educated its people in morals and family values. I'm not talking bad about him, but who's the one that said, yeah, I'll grab them by the... blah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's not someone that I want, that I look to, who really symbolizes a belief in God and that I need to be educated by in morals and family values. The Sanhedrin then calls on President Trump to follow the 7 Noahide laws given by God as a binding set of laws for all of humanity. The Sanhedrin described the laws as a framework that will benefit all mankind. Good night, Elaine. Thank you for being here. I'm about to wrap things up, but have a good night. So anyway, they say it is essential to return to the divine order that was given at Mount Sinai to all of man, to the fundamental principle that is common courtesy and common sense preceding everything. The letter emphasizes it is important. Oh, well, thank you, Elaine, for being here. Absolutely. I miss you when you're not here. I love your input and hearing your ideas, and you go, girl. So I said, it is essential to return to the divine order that was given at Mount Sinai to all of man, to the fundamental principle that is common courtesy and common sense preceding everything, the letter emphasizes. You catch that? To return to the divine order that was given at Mount Sinai to all of man. Does it say Jews only? Khazarians only? Does it say a certain group only? No, it says to all man. And this is coming from the horse's mouth. I mean, by their own words, they're showing. I mean, I could punch so many holes in this sick theory, this psychotic, this racist theory, belief system that, and I would enjoy every minute of it. So they say, he says, it is important to return to the 7 guidelines given to Noah and his offspring that protect all human and moral obligations. Excuse me, but were you there? Were you there when Noah was given these laws, supposedly? I mean, how can we be certain, Mr. All you big, powerful Sanhedrin members who are so superior to us cattle? Well, this is one bull that that will oppose you to your face. I've got a lot of questions for you. Number one, were you there when Noah was given these laws, or supposedly given these laws? Did you help with the floodwaters? Did you help dry the ark out, or what? Just just wondering. Because if you weren't there, then there's kind of a chance that that maybe these laws were not given to Noah. Maybe could be that that you made them up, that you made these laws up. And anyway, it says, you yourself said, all men, but correct me if I'm wrong, but these only apply to non-Jewish people, correct? So, you've by your own words, you have made everything that you say of no effect. So, let's go on. The Sanhedrin also urges the president to adhere to his campaign promise of renewed support of Israel. As if we're not supporting Israel enough already? I mean, come on. This is insane. I mean, Israel's not being supported enough? I'm talking AIPAC, the Jewish lobbyist. Okay, they pay for trips to Israel. The American Israel Political Action Committee provides trips to Israel for all new U.S. lawmakers, so they can see how the Jewish, homeland, the Jewish state, is so important, and blah blah blah, and how that they were doing the right thing to assign the loyalty to Israel, and that to make sure that they remain loyal to Israel. What about loyalty to the United States, for God's sake? Anyway, the Sanhedrin, okay, it says, promise of renewed support of Israel, including moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, which that's going to be done. That's going to be done. Another really, really bad thing, bad idea, because it's just going to cause more bloodshed, more bad feelings, more hatred. It's not going to be good. Anyway, so that Israel can fulfill its biblical role as a light unto the nations. As an honorable president, you are aware of the importance of Israel as an ally, especially a cultural ally of the United States. The whole world anticipates the instilling of Bible values, God's morality given on Mount Sinai for all the world. All the world? Okay, well that includes you, right, Mr. Fake Jew? No, he would say no, it really doesn't. It just includes you, Goyim. Really, we're above you, we're above God. Matter of fact, it says in the Talmud that that no rabbi will ever go to hell. Okay. It says that even if get this, even when God debates with a rabbi, the rabbi wins and God admits the rabbi was right. Do you see this insanity? I mean, even if you don't believe, just consider that they do. And that's what's important. They do believe. It doesn't matter if you believe or not. What matters is they do believe it, and they're going to enforce it, and they're going to enforce it on you whether you believe it or not. So, you say, well, I don't believe in the Bible, I don't believe in Scripture, I don't believe in prophecy, I don't believe in... Well, it doesn't matter, they do. Okay. We must work together so that these values will be the property of all mankind. The rabbinical body proposes. The letter concludes with a final benediction for the world, but especially the two allies. It is our prayer to God that our way will successfully bring welfare and happiness to all mankind, and especially to Israel and the United States, and all of humanity will benefit from this. Now, when they say that all of humanity will benefit from this, remember they are, see, they slipped that in, that all of humanity would benefit from this. They don't view us as humans. They view us as cattle. So what they're talking about, what they're really saying is our prayer that our way will successfully bring welfare and happiness to all mankind, which is us, and only us, and especially to Israel and those of us in the United States, and all of humanity, which is only us, because the rest of you are garbage, you're cockroaches, and we wish you were already dead. That we will benefit from this. And I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating when I say things like that. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, it is just insane. Insane. It says that there was a Jewish rabbi, Khazarian Jew. He's standing in a cemetery. Okay, well, under Jewish law, it is you can't come in contact with a dead body or whatever. You're unclean or something, And so, someone passing by said, "Hey, Rabbi," and this is no joke. This really happened. Hey, Rabbi, what are you doing in that cemetery? I mean, that's against that's against Jewish. That's against Jewish rules or Jewish law. I mean, you're going to be unclean. Rabbi looked at him and said, "No," he said. It says not to come in contact with a dead human body. He said, "I'm in a Gentile cemetery." He said, "They're not human. So I'm okay." No kidding. No lie. No kidding at all. And it just goes on and on and on. And so, let's see. We've gone on 2.5 hours tonight. I think I'm going to call it a night now. But please just remember that and please understand that I am, again, I'm not racist. I'm not against anyone. I'm against those who abuse power, authority, those who are heartless, those who abuse the helpless, the hopeless, and just drive them down further and further and further. And that attack and take joy in causing pain to those who are already in pain, who weaken the weak even more. I want to personally, I want to afflict those who afflict others and take great joy in it. I'll take great joy in afflicting them. I would. I'm not saying that I hate them or anything, but I would take great joy in just letting them know how it feels. Bullies. Anyway, we'll talk more about this because there are more coming, and or there's more to talk about, and also watch the YouTube, the different YouTube channels, and if it resonates with you, then listen to it, accept it. If it doesn't, then don't just, you don't have to listen to it. But you have to really weigh it, because there's a lot of BS on there, a lot of misinformation, and but the main thing is don't be afraid to stand up, speak up, and speak out. Don't bend and don't bow for any bully, any unjust authority, especially these murderous, hateful, racist leaders who believe that they're superior to everyone else. Anyway, I would highly recommend that you read the book The 13th Tribe by Arthur Kessler. And just Google The 13th Tribe and read it. You will see how things are whoa. I mean, it's like really, really an important book, a great book. And also the book Against Our Better Judgment by Alan Weir. By Allison Weir. And that is, her name is Alison, last name Weir, Weir. Against Our Better Judgment. And read those two books and let me know what you think about them. Anyway, if you want to message me, if you want to send me an email, send it to the Texturesis Podcast at gmail.com. Don't be shy. Leave your comments. If you agree or you disagree, tell me what you think. If you like the show and it means something to you, please hit that like button and please follow me. I would appreciate that. Thank you for those of you that are listening on YouTube. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Shout out to those of you that are listening on Spotify. Hey, thank you. SoundCloud, you rock. Anyway, Twitter, all the different iHeartRadio, I heart you. I love you all. So, anyway, please send me the messages. Please send me some emails. And if you have any articles, anything that you want me to read, or that you want to add to the show, or any show topic ideas, feel free to send them to me. Love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. See you next time.